Hello, Year 8. I hope you're well. Welcome to our first online Year 8 assembly. Believe it or not, we as teachers are missing you guys. We'd love to see you in person. Obviously, that can't happen for the time being, but it's good to be able to communicate with you at least one way in this assembly. So I hope you'll enjoy it. We'll only be kind of 10-15 minutes or so, just like a normal assembly. So it won't take up too much of your time, but thanks so much for listening. I know what you're thinking. It is really me. I haven't actually got 10 years younger. Just got rid of the beard. Some of you will remember before, about a year ago, I used to be shaved like this. So you'll know it is really me. It's not an imposter. The first thing I wanted to show you actually is something that your tutors have done. So if I press this button, you should now be able to see a little slideshow. And if I move on to the next slide, you'll see that we've got some videos actually from your tutors that they have sent in. So I thought I'd play that to you now. So watch out for your tutors, see if you can spot them.
Hi Year 8, this is Mr Thornton. Hope the Tutor Group 8 Charter 1 are doing well. Stay safe. Bye.
Hey everyone, hope you're safe and well. Can't wait to see you again soon. I'm going to crack on now, another 1,000 to do. Yeah, 1,000 more.
Great, long time no see. Hope you're all doing well. I certainly am. Looking forward to welcoming you back to school when we get the chance. In the meantime, look after yourselves. Bye for now.
Hi Year 8, just a quick message to say hello from lockdown. I hope everything's going okay and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.
Hey Year 8, Mr Francis here. Hope you're enjoying the sun and I hope you're doing at least a little bit of work. Come on, you know you should be. Looking forward to seeing you very, very soon. Look after yourselves. Keep safe.
Hello Year 8. Hope you're well. Wear your sun cream.
So there you go. Hopefully you saw as well that loads of them, they were saying they missed you, they can't wait to see you back at school, and that's true. We really can't wait for that. It's being said, this is a quote. I want you to see if you can think who this might be. He says, "Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships." I'll say that again. Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships. It's actually Michael Jordan, who probably one of the most famous basketball players of all time, who said that. So it's interesting that he was saying there that over the long haul, over championships, you need teamwork. And I was thinking, well, how over this long haul of this lockdown, how is it that we could work as a team? How can we support each other? Well, here's just two quick ways. You could be asking each other how we're doing. So just ask each other, how are you doing at the moment? How are you finding lockdown? Are you struggling? Are you doing okay? Let's be asking each other those questions just to see how we are. And also maybe you could work together online. So perhaps you're working through your workbook or your online work. You could get some sort of video chat or something going with other friends so that you can work whilst you're doing it. Now I'm saying work whilst you're doing it, not just having a chat. But you can help each other, work together with the questions, then support with that. Because these are unusually tough times, aren't they? Difficult times for all of us. And so we need to show kindness to each other. And I think one way that we can show kindness, if I get these slides up again, one way that we can show kindness is by thinking through some of these principles, some of these rules that we've got. So let's just talk through them now, just to remind you. So we need to be keeping 2 meters apart from each other. I know from Saturday that's going to go down to 1 meter plus, so at least 1 meter, hopefully more. That's just to keep the virus away from each other, isn't it? And making sure we're coughing or sneezing into our elbows or into a tissue and in the bin. Try not to touch our face because that's how the virus gets into us. And to wash our hands well and often. A big one here, we've said this already, but it's got to be 1 meter plus. If you're meeting up with people outside, it still has to be at least 1 meter, preferably more like 2 meters is ideal. And when you're meeting outside, so please make sure you're doing that. I do see a few people up on South Sea Common or perhaps on the seafront getting a little bit closer than that. So do make sure you're keeping that distance. I know it's really hard. It's a difficult thing to do, isn't it? My daughter Jemima, she hasn't seen her grandparents. Well, she's seen them once in 4 months and wasn't even allowed to give them a cuddle then. I know it's hard, but it's so important at this time. It's to protect your family and to speed up our return to normal life. You probably know that Leicester at the moment have had to go back down into lockdown because there was so much virus going around there. I'm not sure they did anything wrong particularly, but one way that we can try and make sure that doesn't happen to Portsmouth is by making sure that we keep these rules, that we keep 2 meters, we cough into our elbow, we're not touching our face, and we're washing our hands often. That's how we get back to normal life the quickest. Here are some things that you could keep in mind as well whilst you're on lockdown. A few sort of pieces of advice that we can think about whilst we're there. So one of them is to keep yourself informed about things. So the government are updating stuff all the time. And it's worth checking on maybe the BBC website, maybe the government website. They've got the most up-to-date information about what we need to be doing. Try and use trusted websites like the BBC or the government website or the NHS website. They're the websites that you can trust, really. There's probably a lot of false information out there, so probably stick to those. But keep informed. Make sure you know what's going on. If the news stories are making you feel anxious or confused, then maybe think about turning it off for a while, or limiting what you look at. You don't have to be watching everything all the time if it's making you feel anxious. Social media is one thing which can be really good at the moment. It helps us to stay connected when we can't see each other face to face. But it might be that social media is making you feel anxious, perhaps, especially when people are sharing lots of sad or scary news or posting about their worries. So maybe think about just taking a break. Saying, okay, I'm going to go, I don't know, a day or two without social media, or maybe just say I'm only going to look at it for an hour today or something like that, just to give yourself a bit of a break so that you're not hearing all these stories all the time. Something to think about that might be good for you. Here's another suggestion. Speak with someone that you trust. If you're feeling anxious about the coronavirus or staying at home, then you might find it helpful to talk with maybe that's an adult or another friend from school. Talk to them about it, see how they feel. They might feel the same as you, and often we feel much better when we find someone who feels the same as us, don't we? I love this one. This is a really good piece of advice, I think. Build physical activity into your daily routine. You can do a lot just by getting out and about, maybe going for a bike ride, maybe going for a jog, maybe doing the PE with Joe Wick's stuff. I think he's only doing it a couple of days now, but still you can get involved with that. Making sure you're getting out and doing stuff. We feel much more, I guess, much more kind of sad and depressed, I suppose, if we're stuck inside, sitting on our bums all day. So make sure that you're getting out, going for at least a walk or a run or something like that. It makes us feel much better. There's pretty good research out there about how it does make you feel better if you have regular exercise, and all the more important when we're having to stay at home for so much of the day. Make time to relax as well. Maybe you might want to do some arts and crafts stuff or some reading, or I guess some of you might want to play some console games. But try something new. Make the most of this opportunity. It probably won't ever happen to you again, where you have from Easter till till now or even further ahead at home without school, with only doing school at home. So make the most of that opportunity. Try something new. Do something that you enjoy. Here's a good piece of advice. Make sure you've got a routine. So you could be trying to base your timetable, your work timetable for your home learning, around the things you'd normally be doing in school. So perhaps look at your school timetable and see when those lessons would be, and you could do those lessons at that time. Don't forget to keep a lunchtime in there. Decide better maybe if you work better in the morning or the afternoon. So I personally know that I work better in the morning, so I try and get as much of the work done in the morning as I can, and then maybe have a bit less work to do in the afternoon because I don't work so well then. And then add in times for break and leisure activities. So plan your day, otherwise it just won't happen. You won't get the work done, you won't go and see the people you want to see, and you won't get the things done that you need to get done. So plan your day, try and have a routine. Which brings us on to the dreaded home learning. I've been so impressed with lots of you. I look through fairly regularly, particularly for maths, because that's my subject, the work that you guys are doing. And I've seen how much some of you are submitting. You're there on time with every subject. It's brilliant, really good to see. I am a little bit worried though that some of you might be falling behind, because there are lots of people who are doing all the work. Some people aren't doing so much, and I'm worried for you that you're going to fall behind, that when we come back to school, you're going to find everyone's so much better and you won't know what's going on just because you didn't do the time, didn't put the time in for now, you didn't do the work at home. Let me reassure you, you don't need to do the same as normal school. I'm not expecting you to work from 8:45 through to 3:15. You don't have to work that whole time. Maybe just do sort of 3 hours in the morning. That's what I would suggest. Try and work 9 till 12, and then they've got the rest of the day completely free. You'll have heard that we're going to have online lessons, and in fact they've started this week. To go on those, you need to get the Microsoft Teams app, or you can go you can get that online on a laptop as well, just using a normal web browser. So I would recommend downloading the app, but if you just want to go online, that's fine. And you can see your teachers, you can see other students there, and you can learn from them face to face. I know that's what a lot of you've been waiting for. Well, you can do that now. You can have those lessons face to face. You can ask the questions you've got. So make sure that you're getting to those lessons. Here's the timetable of when the lessons are for year 8. Hopefully you can see that on the screen, so you can see Monday 9:15. What a way to start the week. 50 minutes of maths on a Monday morning, and you can see the rest of the subjects dotted throughout the week there. It's probably worth me saying at this point that some of you over the past of these lessons have been using the chat a little bit inappropriately, and the teachers can see everything you write. And in fact, I've got a screenshot from some swearing that happened there and some inappropriate comments. It would be a bit embarrassing if we had to send those comments home to your parents, or to read them out on the phone, because we've had to ring because of the inappropriate conversations or language happening in the chat. Your teachers can see every single thing you say on chats on Microsoft Teams, so make sure it's only what your teacher is asking you to chat about. Okay, and don't say anything rude. Don't be going off being horrible to other people. Make sure you're just asking the questions that you've been asked to answer on the chat there. I don't want to end on a negative though. I want us to watch a video to finish, which kind of thinks about what some of the benefits of lockdown could be. Obviously, this is a really difficult time for lots of people, for all of us, I guess. But it's also an opportunity to think about how we could be living differently as a society and as individuals. And I think this video, which is great, I think it's a really interesting video. This video gets some of those ideas. So sit back and watch this video and see what you think about it. Sorry, that took ages to come on. Here it goes.
Tell me the one about the virus again, then I'll go to bed.
But my boy, you're growing weary, sleepy thoughts about your head.
Please, that one's my favourite. I promise, just once more.
Okay, snuggle down, my boy, though I know you know full well. The story starts before then, in a world I once would dwell. It was a world of waste and wonder, of poverty and plenty, back before we understood why hindsight's 2020. You see, the people came up with companies to trade across all lands, but they swelled and got much bigger than we ever could have planned. We'd always had our wants, but now it got so quick. You could have anything you dreamed of in a day, and with a click. We noticed families had stopped talking. That's not to say they never spoke, but the meaning must have melted, and the work-life balance broke, and the children's eyes grew squarer.
and every toddler had a phone. They filtered out the imperfections, but amidst the noise, they felt alone. And every day the skies grew thicker, till you couldn't see the stars. So we flew in planes to find them, while down below, we filled our cars. We'd drive around all day in circles. We'd forgotten how to run. We swapped the grass for tarmac, shrunk the parks till there were none. We filled the sea with plastic, because our waste was never capped, until each day when you went fishing, you'd pull them out, already wrapped. And while we drank and smoked and gambled, our leaders taught us why. It's best to not upset the lobbies. More convenient to die. But then in 2020, a new virus came our way. The governments reacted and told us all to hide away. But while we all were hidden, amidst the fear and all the while, the people dusted off their instincts. They remembered how to smile. They started clapping to say thank you and calling up their mums. And while the car keys gathered dust, they would look forward to their runs. And with the skies less full of voyagers, the earth began to breathe, and the beaches bore new wildlife that scuttled off into the seas. Some people started dancing, some were singing, some were baking. We'd grown so used to bad news, but some good news was in the making. And so when we found the cure, and were allowed to go outside, we all preferred the world we found to the one we'd left behind. Old habits became extinct, and they made way for the new, and every simple act of kindness was now given its due.
But why did it take a virus to bring the people back together?
Well, sometimes you've got to get sick, my boy, before you start feeling better. Now lie down and dream of tomorrow, and all the things that we can do. And who knows, if you dream hard enough, maybe some of them will come true. We now call it the Great Realization. And yes, since then there have been many. But that's the story of how it started, and why hindsight's 2020.
Because if you look at the camera, they know someone's...
So there you have it, just some ideas about what some of the good this virus might do as we think about how is it that we want to live life individually and as a society, as communities. So let me encourage you to think about that. But in the meantime, I do hope you stay well, and we're really looking forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.